All righty. A couple of you have asked me to ask each other what's going on with your second draw PPP. For those of you who applied for a second draw of PPP, or even a first draw if you didn't apply earlier in 2020, I can now report to you that for many of you who were applying last week or 10 days ago or so, we're now starting to see those approvals come in. So for the first round, there was like overnight, almost seemingly instantaneous approvals. For the second round, it is taking a bit longer. So if you've applied and you haven't gotten approval yet, hang in there. If you've applied and you have gotten approval, awesome. So watch for that funding. But again, we're seeing people now a week to 10 days in start to give the thumbs up on those approvals. So again, I know many of you were asking that question, wanted to bring that to you in case that was helpful. Hey, where's my good friend? Speaking of helpful, where's my good friend Karen Mulreed?
I'm right here. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Karen.
Snowy Monday. It's kind of nice though, right? Look outside, see it all, sea of white. I want to talk to you this morning about investment property. And for those of you who don't know me, I am Karen Mulreed with Westport Mortgage, where we are helping realtors sell and helping buyers buy every day, snowy day included. I want to talk to you about 4 ways to finance investment property. 1, you can try your hand at a 2 to 4 family where you are owner occupying it, and try your hand at that with an FHA loan, allows you a low down payment option. 2, you can take advantage of a conventional loan where you're documenting your income and your savings. 3, you can go with Light Doc, where self-employed are using profit and loss statements to document income, and wage earners are using their current income to document their income. Or 4, you can use the debt service on the property or the rental income to qualify for the loan. So those are 4 ways that you can finance investment property. If you have any questions, give me or anyone on my team, Nancy, Paul, Bill, a call. We are all ready and waiting to help you. And I'm Karen Mulreed, Westport Mortgage, where we've been your mortgage partners since 2007.
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Karen. Light Doc, it sounds like a weight loss physician, right? Need to lose some weight? Visit Light Doc. We'll hook you up. All righty, so, and you know what, I realized that I neglected to give a big thank you and a shout out to Mary Pat Sexton. I don't know, oh, there's Mary Pat. Hello, Mary Pat. Thank you so much for taking your time yesterday to do these football pools. We appreciate that. So everyone, a round of applause, please, for Mary Pat, because she was the artistic genius behind the pools that you see in front of you. It's so good to be in business with talented people. All righty, quick Zillow update. So one of the things that we wanted to just make sure that you were aware of is, if you remember last week, we talked with you about monitoring Zillow, right? Monitoring Zillow to make sure that they're following the same rules that we all have to follow, because now that they're a Connecticut broker, they have to follow all the same rules that we follow. And I'm going to tell you, so Kim Tromba, boy, she took the first shot last week, and it was a good one. So my hat's off to you, Kim. And I'm just going to tell you what Kim did. Kim had buyers who, I think on 2 separate properties, she had a buyer for 2 separate properties, and her buyers went on Zillow after they had an accepted offer on the property and saw the property that they were going to purchase on Zillow now said seller accepting backups, because Zillow is now promoting seller accepting backups instead of reporting it as under agreement. Why are they doing that? Yes, you guessed it, because they want to continue to drive lead traffic to them so they can sell the leads back to you, right? That's another way that Zillow makes money. So Kim said, you know what? That's kind of BS, right? And called the listing agencies. And the listing agencies said, no, we're not accepting backups. Like that, we sold the properties to you. Her buyers were upset. She got confirmation from the listing agent that the sellers didn't know that was up there, and the listing agencies had nothing to do with that. So part of her complaint to the MLS, we're going to start with the MLS, was, you know what? They don't have a right to generate business off of the potential of backup offers. If the seller or the listing agency chose to have that on there, then that's one thing. And yet if we did that on our own website, you betcha everyone would be upset. So that's the first complaint. The second complaint that she made, I'm telling you what, Kim Trumba was on it last week. The second complaint she made was that Zillow is still promoting Zestimates. Well, as a Connecticut broker, they really have to follow the rules of IDX. Can you imagine if we decided to do a Keller Williams emit, or whatever we're going to call it, a KW emit, and posted our version, our opinion of value through IDX on Coldwell Banker's listings, on Sotheby's listings? People would go crazy. And so this is what we're talking about when we say monitor Zillow, because they had to be, we're going to call them out on every single thing that they now think that they can get away with because they've been doing it for years as a vendor. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you're going to be a Connecticut broker, you've got to follow the same rules that we do. So please continue to monitor. I know that there's other issues going on with Zillow, and trust me, I have a list about 6 or 7 long now. And as soon as I have a moment, I'm going to start compiling that list and fashioning a formal complaint to the Department of Consumer Protection as well. We started with the MLS with Kim last week, but as you guys are experiencing these issues, I'm compiling them and I'm going to send something off to DCP. Because at some point we have to kind of take a stand and say, look, be one thing or the other. And if you're going to be this, well, then do it the way we all have to do it. If you're going to be something else, then that's your right. But you can't be what we are and not follow the same rules. So do know that that we have your back on that. And the more information and data that you can give us to build a stronger and stronger case, we will absolutely continue to push that up to the state and to the MLS. We'll also let you know what the MLS comes back to Kim with from her initial 2 complaints. So way to go, Kim Trumba. Okay, and so one last thing before I get to my quick, what time is it? Yeah, my quick 5 for you this morning is this. Please make sure that you are verifying the commission rate that you are to be paid, and then print that out. I know that sounds really old school, but print that out and include it with your offer. I want you to include a printout of your offer with the buyer agency compensation at the bottom circled, so that there's a record of what you expect to get paid that goes along to the listing agency with the offer. Why am I saying this? Because we are in the wild, wild west. And not once, but twice last week, I had to make phone calls to brokers saying, excuse me, your agent changed the commission from 2.5% to 1% 5 days after we presented an offer. That doesn't work. Right? And there were justifications and reasons behind it. The reality is, as of this morning, we're getting paid exactly what we're supposed to get paid. However, it took the agent on the buy side to recognize that it was changed, and then a phone call from me to the other broker to say, that's not the way this works. Right? And so recognize that you do have the MLS as a backup. And yet, if you will print out that document and circle the BAC and send it along with the offer, then there's clarity, right? No one can say, well, it was different. You have a record. It's all time and date stamped in your email. You have a record of what that commission was when your clients made the offer, because that's what you're due, by the way. Unless there's a written compensation agreement that alters that, you're due what it was listed as the day you wrote the offer and presented the offer. Oh, and last thing, it is bulletproofing week, right? So we have 3 sessions for you today at 1 o'clock, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and Friday at 1 o'clock. Today, tune in at 1 o'clock for a 30-minute quickie on securing your buyer deal. And that's two sides of that securing it to make sure that you are the winner. And then once you're the winner, securing it to make sure it sticks together. Debbie and I will be presenting that at 1 o'clock today. And then again, Wednesday is multiple offers, and Friday is managing the madness in the market, right? So do tune in this week for Bulletproofing Week. We're excited to bring you those things. Alrighty, so my top 5 for today, they're 5 quick strategies to utilize on the list side that I think make all the difference in the world. Number 1, set your expiration dates to the same day of every month. So if you, regardless of when you take a listing, all of your listings should expire on the 25th of every single month. And I'm just using that as a date, right? It can be whatever you choose. So if you take a listing today on February the 1st, and you're typically a 6-month listing taker, right? That's March, April, May, June, July. You're taking it now from February 1st through July 25th. You're always going to have them expire on the same day of the month. Why? Because when you have one listing, it's easy to remember when that expires. When you have 7 or 12 or 50, it is not easy to remember when all of those things expire. And if you'll have just a system around the expirations, it allows you to keep track and know exactly what you need to do to maintain that listing inventory. Does that make sense? Number 2, set release dates, and that means when your listings come to the market, set your listing release dates for the same day or days of the week. So it's the same concept, which means you list whenever you're going to list. However, they go on the market. Now, I know we have a 48-hour rule, so you may have to make this 2 days a week instead of 1. Your listings go on the market on Mondays and Thursdays, so that you have a set schedule for release of your inventory. You want to list it on a Saturday and release it on a Monday? Well, now you've given yourself time to get the work done. And if you become or already are a prolific listing agent, you're starting to train the marketplace as to when to expect your new inventory, right? It's another version of coming soon. It's like a coming soon inside of the industry. So now people are always wondering when that next Christine Olyenic listing is going to pop on, right? And what we know is she releases on Mondays and Thursdays. So we're gonna be monitoring for that, right? Just trying to help you create some systems inside of your listing inventory to help remove the chaoticness of it, right? Because right now, a lot of you have a bunch of listing inventory, and it's just the date, it's whenever you decide to do it, right? So create some structure around it. Number 3, if you need to, have your extension conversations. So if you need to extend a listing, have your extension conversations pre-scheduled for 30 days before the listing expires. Many of you wait until 15 minutes before the listing expires and try to grab a quick call or a quick text with the seller, and you're wondering why there's pushback or issues with that, right? If you're taking a 4 to 6 month listing and your listings expire on the 25th of every month. By the way, I like the 25th of the month because there is a 25th of the month in every single month. If you use the 30th, you're kind of screwed in February, right? You can't use the 31st because that doesn't work. So I just like the 25th because there's a 25 in every single one of our 12 months. So then on the 25th of the month preceding, you're just looking at what expires next month. And you're using that whole week to line up systematically those extension conversations. Here's the other thing it does. Did you ever make an extension conversation and have sellers dangle in front of you the fact that the property isn't sold yet? Well, you know, you've got 4 days left. You better really ratchet it up because we're not sure what we're going to do yet. Don't allow them to hold that over you. Have that conversation a full month in advance. And you know what? If there's resistance to that extension, you get to start having conversations around ratcheting down your marketing efforts. Did you hear what I said? Yes, I said it out loud, right? Well, if we're not going to be in business together, 3 weeks from now, well, then I think I'll start ratcheting down my efforts to get the property sold. That's not what you want, is it? No. So let's extend for at least a 60-day extension period. It turns the tables, right? I get so weary of the conversation around, gee, you didn't get the job done. You better pull a rabbit out of a hat in the next 3.5 hours, and then I'll consider an extension, right? You need to take back that power. Number 4, deliver seller feedback on a set schedule. Deliver seller feedback on a set schedule. So maybe that's Mondays and Thursdays at 3 o'clock for you, right? That's when your seller feedback happens. And it should be the same every single week because it's a set schedule. And you should be setting expectations with your sellers around when that feedback comes back so that you don't have to field the phone call 12 minutes before the buyers have left the house, right? Because sometimes sellers are calling for feedback while the buyers are still in the house, right? So have a set system. Now, I know what some of you are saying. Well, we don't make those phone calls anymore because now we have an automated system where the agents type in the feedback and it just goes directly to the seller. Guys, I am going to strongly suggest that you disable that as quickly as you possibly can this morning. You do not want agent feedback going directly from a buyer's agent to the seller for the main reason that does not allow you to translate the feedback. One of your main jobs as a listing agent is to translate feedback so that it always relates to one thing, because there's only one thing that actually gets a house sold, and that's price. So when you have the feedback going direct, the buyer's agents get to say they didn't like it was on a busy road, or they didn't like it because the bedrooms were small, or the kitchen was not updated. And so now you have sellers saying things, well, I can't move my house, it's on a busy road. See, there's nothing I can do about that. I'm certainly not going to increase the size of the bedrooms. There's nothing I can do about that. But as a listing agent, if you will take the time to field all of that and then deliver it as a second step, you get to run it through the translation mill. And the translation of that feedback is this. So Mr. Raposo, one of the things that we found with feedback this week is that we had one buyer who didn't think the house was right for them because it was on a busy road. It didn't think it was right for them at this price because of the busy road. We had another agent who communicated that for the price, the bedroom seemed small. And then we had a third piece of showing feedback that said, for the price, the kitchen was in need of updates, right? And so you're now translating things about price because the price is what the seller can do something about. They're right, they can't increase the size of the bedrooms, at least not easily, and they can't move the house off the busy road, but they can certainly recognize that some of those things require a discounted price. Make sense? Number 5, even in a fast-paced market, set expectations with your sellers and then with any buyer's agents that you're going to host at least 1 or 2 open houses. I've had this conversation with a bunch of you of late, and part of the complaint about the fast-paced market is that things are moving so fast they sell before you get to host an open house. And I just don't buy that. Sorry. The answer is set different expectations with the sellers and with the buyer's agents and host those open houses anyway. Minimally, you're looking for backup offers for the sellers. If you want to have a benefit for a seller, you may well be looking for backup offers. Your sellers can say, look, I'm not switching. I said yes to these people and I'm going to stay true to my word. How about some backups? And the benefit, of course, to you or to any host at an open house is exposure to additional client opportunities, right? So be careful that you're not just giving away opportunities to grow business because the market is fast-paced. Just set different expectations. If Debbie comes and sells a listing of mine and we have an agreement on a Thursday, whether I have it scheduled or not, I'm going to host an open house on Saturday or Sunday. And I'm just going to let Debbie know that ahead of time. Hey, don't be surprised when you see the open house move forward on Sunday. The sellers and I have decided to move that forward. I'm telling you that I don't really think you should worry so much and I would appreciate that if you would communicate that to the buyers. However, we are going to move forward with the open house. If you don't tell the buyer's agent, you kind of get what you deserve when they call you yelling and screaming, right? If you set the expectation and just be clear with them up front, everyone's happy, right? Well, the buyer's agent might not be terribly happy, but that's okay. That's not a requirement, right? So there are your 5 things. Want a bonus one? Number 1, set expiration dates to the same day each month. Number 2, set release dates for your listings to the same day or days each week, excuse me. Number 3, have extension conversations 30 days prior and tie them all to price reductions. Number 4, deliver seller feedback personally and translated through the pricing lens. Number 5, even a fast-paced market, make sure you're hosting at least 1 or 2 open houses for your properties. And here's your bonus. Your bonus is bite the bullet and start using the 60-day listing agreement. We've talked about it. Some of you are nervous about it. I can see it in your eyeballs. Jeannie Kassendorf says, if you ask me one more time, I might hit you, right? So the reality is now, with the market moving so quickly, it's a perfect opportunity for you to try it out and see how that 60-day listing opportunity actually works for you. The listing period works for you because stuff is selling really fast anyway, right? So you're less in need of more time. Guys, you all know my feeling about this. If you will set the terms that says, you get me for 60 days, let's get this job done, you will have sellers who look at that and say, okay, this person understands exactly what it takes to get my home sold. I'm not committed for 6 months like everybody else is looking for. Let's just list with them and get the job done. I think it helps you help them price better. It helps them understand exactly how the market is moving. It creates urgency for you, so there's no complacency, right, on your end. I think it's a win for everybody. So I would encourage, and if you're interested in more information on that, I'm more than happy to have a little mastermind session around how we can make that sing. I've already written the scripts that I've shared with many of you, so we can certainly get those out to you and move on from there. Guys, that's what I have for you today. Have an awesome day. Please be safe. Be like the ducks. In and say, no thanks. Go right back in. We'll see you at 1 o'clock for our bulletproofing conversation.